game takes place in a modern version of Vice City, which is Rockstar's version of Miami. But this time, it's not just one city. The map covers a large area called Leonida, inspired by Florida. You'll see bright beaches, busy highways, swamps, small towns, nightlife districts, and huge city streets packed with people and traffic. The world feels more alive than ever, with NPCs reacting to what you do, social media posts popping up in the game world, random events happening on the streets, and tons of side activities that make the city feel real instead of empty. Every area has its own vibe, from luxury neighborhoods to dangerous back streets. One of the biggest changes in GTA 6 is the main characters. For the first time in the series, you play as a female lead named Lucia alongside her partner Jason. Their story feels inspired by a Bonnie and Clyde type relationship where they pull off crimes together and try to survive in a world that keeps pushing them deeper into trouble. You can switch between both characters during gameplay, just like GTA 5, but this time the connection between them feels more emotional and personal. Their choices, trust, and actions shape how the story unfolds, making the missions feel more intense and meaningful. Gameplay looks smoother and more realistic than any GTA before. Driving feels heavier and more grounded, shooting animations look more natural, and character movement feels less stiff. The gunplay has been improved with better aiming, smarter enemies, and more intense police chases. Police behavior is also smarter now, meaning they won't just magically appear everywhere. They respond based on what happens around the city, which makes escapes more exciting and realistic. Stealth has been improved too, letting players approach missions in different ways instead of just going loud every time. The world is packed with things to do. You can explore clubs, shops, beaches, underground areas, and hidden locations across the map. Side missions feel more like real stories instead of simple fetch tasks. You might get pulled into random crimes, street events, or strange encounters that make every session feel fresh. Vehicles are more detailed with better damage physics and more customization options. Planes, boats, bikes, and cars all feel unique to drive. Weather changes also affect gameplay, so heavy rain can make roads slippery and storms can change visibility during missions. Graphics are on another level. Lighting, reflections, character faces, and city details look almost like real life in some scenes. The game uses next-gen hardware to push fast loading, dense crowds, and massive draw distances. Nighttime in Vice City looks especially impressive, with neon lights reflecting off wet roads and buildings glowing in the distance. Even small details like clothing movement, hair physics, and facial expressions add to the realism. Online mode is expected to be huge as well. Rockstar will likely expand GTA Online into a new version built specifically for GTA 6. Expect bigger lobbies, more activities, better role-play options, new businesses, and massive updates over time. Players will probably be able to build crews, run missions together, customize characters deeply, and explore the entire map with friends. Rockstar usually supports their online worlds for many years, so GTA 6 Online could easily dominate gaming for a long time. Sound design and music are another strong point. GTA always has amazing radio stations, and GTA 6 is expected to feature a mix of modern hits, classic tracks, local Miami vibes, and talk shows that react to in-game events. Voice acting feels more natural and emotional, making the story hit harder during serious moments and funnier during crazy ones. Overall, GTA 6 feels like more than just a game. It's shaping up to be a full living world where every street feels busy, every character feels alive, and every mission feels like part of a big movie you're controlling. Whether you love exploring, causing chaos, following story missions, racing through the city, or just chilling and discovering secrets, GTA 6 looks like it will deliver something unforgettable. For many gamers, this isn't just the biggest game of 2026, it might become the biggest game of the decade.
Resident Evil Requiem drops gamers straight into one of the most talked about chapters in the series, coming out on February 27th, 2026. This time, Capcom takes us back to the ruins of Raccoon City, the place where everything went wrong years ago, but nothing's quite like you remember. The game is being built on modern tech to make it look and feel terrifying and real, with creepy environments and intense moments that will make you jump. You don't just play as one character in Requiem, you switch between two very different heroes. The main focus is Grace Ashcroft, a young FBI analyst who is thrown into a deadly mystery tied to her past. Her mother died in this place, and Grace is here to uncover what really happened, but she didn't sign up to be a soldier. She's smart, curious, and honestly kinda overwhelmed by the horror around her, which makes her sections feel tense and scary in a way old school fans will appreciate. Then there's Leon S. Kennedy, a name every Resident Evil fan knows. Leon isn't the main star, but he's back to kick ass in the parts where you get into straight-up combat. His gameplay is more action-heavy, with fast fights and strong gunplay, giving the game this cool switch between heart-pounding horror with Grace and serious zombie beatdowns with Leon. Requiem isn't just another Resident Evil game, it's the 9th main entry in the series and part of the 30th anniversary celebration Capcom teased for years. They're mixing old survival horror feel with modern action and story depth. You'll see classic tense moments, puzzles, and resource management, but also moments that throw you right into intense combat or jump scares. The story is set about 30 years after Raccoon City was nuked to try to stop the virus outbreak that turned people into monsters. Grace's investigation leads her through places like the Wrenwood Hotel, where strange deaths and horrific creatures lurk in every shadow. Leon heads to another dark corner of the world to chase down secrets tied to a former Umbrella scientist. These two paths eventually connect in shocking ways. Gameplay lets you switch between first and third-person views whenever you want. That means if you want total immersion while sneaking through dark hallways, you can go first-person. But when you want to see Leon kick a zombie in the face, third-person is there for you too. These flexibility options show how Capcom is trying to give both horror fans and action lovers something to enjoy. And because this game is such a big deal, there's already talk about all kinds of extras, from pre-order bonuses to cool costumes and weapon skins, so players are hyped long before release. The vibe is clear. Requiem is going for a mix of chilling fear and classic Resident Evil thrills that could be one of the best in the series. That's Resident Evil Requiem, not just another sequel, but a fresh take on a world we thought we already knew. Crimson Desert is one of the most talked about open-world games coming in 2026, and it's finally locked in for March 19th, 2026. This game has been in development for years and changed a lot since it was first shown, but now it's shaping up into a huge solo adventure built by Pearl Abyss, the same studio behind Black Desert Online. You'll dive into a huge fantasy land called Pywell, a continent filled with all kinds of places, from snowy mountains to deep forests and wide deserts. The story revolves around Cliff, leader of a mercenary group called the Greymanes, who survives a brutal attack that scatters his comrades across the world. The main goal is simple but powerful. Find your friends, rebuild your group, and face the dangers that threaten everyone in Pywell. What's cool about Crimson Desert is that it doesn't hold back on variety. You're not just fighting enemies, you're exploring a real open world. There are cities full of life, wilderness to roam on horseback, and giant landscapes that make the world feel massive and alive. Pywell isn't just for walking around. You'll climb cliffs, glide from high places, and even ride creatures like dragons in certain parts of the game. Combat in Crimson Desert feels intense and fluid. You use a mix of weapons, swords, bows, magic, and the system lets you chain attacks together in combos that look and feel satisfying. Boss fights are meant to be big moments, where timing and strategy matter as much as how fast you can button mash.
It's mainly a single-player experience, which means the world and story are designed around your journey with Cliff rather than multiplayer missions or modes. The narrative promised is rich, with memorable characters, mystery, and moments that pull you deeper into the lore of Pywell. Along the way, you'll meet factions fighting for control, uncover dark secrets, and make choices that affect how your story unfolds, even if the game isn't a deep RPG in the traditional sense. Beyond the main storyline, Crimson Desert has other ways to keep you busy. You can take time to fish in peaceful waters, gather resources from the land, cook meals that boost your stats, and craft gear to make Cliff stronger. This gives the world a lived-in feeling and lets you pause from the main fight to enjoy other parts of the adventure. The graphics and presentation have been a major hype. The game uses Pearl Abyss's Black Space engine, which delivers detailed environments and smooth performance that really make Pywell shine, especially on next-gen consoles like PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Crimson Desert has had its delays and changes, but with the build now complete and a Gold Master finished, fans are just months away from finally exploring this huge world. If you love big open worlds, action-packed combat, and deep stories, this is one of the biggest adventures hitting 2026.
007 First Light is the next big James Bond game, and it's shaping up to be a huge deal for fans of spy action and story-driven adventure. It's coming out on May 27, 2026 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and S, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC, and it's the first major Bond game in years after the last one back in 2012. The game is made by IO Interactive, the studio you probably know from the Hitman series. They're taking everything they learned from those stealth and action games and putting it into a Bond world that feels fresh but still classic. Instead of retelling a movie you've already seen, First Light gives you an all-new origin story about how James Bond became the iconic 007 agent. In First Light, you play as a young James Bond before he gets the famous 00 license to kill. He starts off as a Royal Navy airman who gets noticed after a brave act, and that's how he ends up being recruited into MI6's elite 00 program. You'll follow him as he tries to prove himself, takes on dangerous missions around the world, and deals with a rogue agent who could spark a huge crisis. It's not just about guns and cars, it's about Bond finding his way and earning his place in spy history. What makes this game exciting is how it blends different gameplay styles. You'll sneak around, hide in shadows, and use gadgets, but you'll also get moments of straight-up action, driving scenes, and cinematic set pieces. Much like Hitman, you're encouraged to think about how you approach missions. Do you go in loud and fast, or silent and smart? It's all up to how you play. The story is told from a third-person perspective, so you follow Bond with the camera over his shoulder, and there's no multiplayer. This is a pure single-player experience. It's focused on giving players that classic spy thrill, where every choice matters and every plan could go sideways if you're not careful. One thing a lot of fans are hyped about is how First Light isn't tied to any specific Bond movie or actor. It's its own story, with original characters, new faces, and even a new villain, so you won't feel like you've already seen it all before. There's also been some cool news about the extras you can get if you pre-order. There are deluxe and legacy editions with early access and special gear like outfits and weapon skins. That stuff isn't necessary to enjoy the game, but it's a nice bonus for people who really love Bond style. The game was delayed from its original March 2026 release to May, but the developers say that extra time was to make sure the experience feels smooth and polished at launch. People who have seen gameplay so far talk about big levels, spy missions with tension, stealth play, and exciting set pieces that feel cinematic and fun. Overall, 007 First Light is shaping up to be a story-rich, stylish, and action-packed Bond game that a lot of gamers have been waiting for. If you've ever wanted to see how Bond became Bond, from rookie recruit to legendary 007, this game is trying to give you that journey in a way that feels new and exciting.
Forza Horizon 6 has finally been officially revealed, and honestly, it might be the biggest Forza game yet. After years of waiting since Forza Horizon 5, Playground Games is taking the series to Japan, a place that fans have been asking for since the very first game came out. Japan wasn't just picked randomly. The developers actually traveled there, worked with cultural consultants, and scanned real roads, cities, and landscapes to make the game feel authentic and true to life, while still keeping that fun Horizon freedom. The biggest news first. Forza Horizon 6 is set to launch on May 19, 2026 for Xbox Series X and S and PC. If you grab the Premium Edition, you'll get early access starting May 15th, so you can jump into the game 4 days earlier. PlayStation 5 players aren't left behind. The game will come to PS5 later in the year, and you can already add it to your wish list on the PlayStation Store. Japan is the heart of this game, and it's huge. The map is reportedly the biggest open world in a Horizon game yet, filled with towering urban zones, classic countryside roads, mountain passes, coastal highways, and even rural backroads that are perfect for drifting and cruising. Tokyo City alone is said to be about 5 times larger than the urban area in Forza Horizon 5, with multiple districts that each feel unique. And beyond the city, you've got places like Mount Fuji and winding Toge mountain roads that give the game tons of variety in how it drives and feels. The world isn't just big, it's alive. Playground Games has brought back its iconic dynamic seasons, so Japan will change from snowy winter landscapes to cherry blossom spring and scorching summer roads that all affect how you see and drive through the world. They even brought in real Japanese audio recordings to shape the sound of the environment, things like wind chimes, station announcements, and ambient sounds that make the world feel real and welcoming. Forza Horizon 6 launches with more than 550 cars on day one, making it one of the biggest car rosters the series has ever had. There are JDM classics you'd expect for a Japan setting, cool modern supercars, off-road beasts, and even rare prototype cars, like the 2025 GR GT prototype. Some cars will have new things like cosmetic tire wear and updated steering animations, so each vehicle feels a bit more alive as you take it around the world. Customization has also expanded. You'll still be able to tune cars and paint them however you like, but Forza Horizon 6 introduces new garage features where you can decorate spaces and invite friends to see your collection. There are also things like parked aftermarket cars around the world that you can test or collect, making exploration even more rewarding. Multiplayer is woven right into the open world, too. You and your friends can build convoys, join car meets inspired by real events like Daikoku, and take part in co-op races, Toge battles, drag meets, and time attack circuits without loading screens. The game preserves classic modes like the Eliminator and Hide and Seek while adding new share of experiences that make the world feel social and energetic. If you're into racing games that let you explore scenic worlds, collect tons of cars, and play with friends or solo however you like, Forza Horizon 6 looks like it's shaping up to be one of the best Horizon games yet. Japan's landscapes, huge map, deep car culture, and rich gameplay will give players something truly special when it drops on May 19, 2026. Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis is one of the biggest Tomb Raider games fans have been waiting for, and it's finally set to arrive in 2026 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. This game isn't just another sequel, it's a full-on reimagining of the very first Tomb Raider from 1996, built from the ground up with modern tech and ideas, while still keeping the feel that made the classic so memorable. In Legacy of Atlantis, you step into the boots of Lara Croft, and the whole adventure is about hunting for the broken pieces of the powerful artifact known as the Scion, tied to the mythical lost city of Atlantis. The story sends Lara all over the world, from thick jungles and dusty deserts to ancient Greek ruins and mysterious islands in the Mediterranean. The mix of places gives the game a real epic globe-trotting adventure vibe, just like the classic Tomb Raider fans loved, but with fresh surprises for newcomers too.
One thing that's already got people talking is the visuals. Legacy of Atlantis runs on Unreal Engine 5, which means the environments, lighting, and animations are a huge step up from anything the series has done before. The developers, Crystal Dynamics, teamed up with Flying Wild Hog, known for action titles, to make sure the game feels modern, smooth, and exciting, whether you're climbing a cliff face or crawling through a trap-filled temple. Gameplay sticks close to what made the original so fun, but expands on it. You still explore tombs packed with tricky puzzles and hidden paths, but now Lara can climb more freely, move more smoothly, and interact with the world in ways that weren't possible back in the 90s. The puzzles are said to be more complex and satisfying, the exploration more open and layered, and the environments more alive and detailed. Combat in Legacy of Atlantis also feels updated. It's still Lara's classic mix of stealth, agility, and weapon use, dual pistols, bows, and other gear, but enemies feel more dangerous and tactical, so you have to think about encounters instead of just blasting through them. There's a sense of survival and tension throughout, especially in tombs where traps and hazards can catch you off guard. Another cool thing about this game is the voice acting. Lara Croft is voiced by Alex Wilton Regan, an experienced performer who brings both strength and emotion to the character as she grows from an explorer into the legend we all know. More than just gameplay and story, Legacy of Atlantis feels like a celebration of Tomb Raider's past, while also pushing the series forward. It's a return to roots, but with all the polish and design modern players expect, including modern controls, cinematic scenes, and an emphasis on exploration that feels rewarding rather than frustrating. Fans who saw the reveal trailers reacted really strong. Millions of views online show how excited people are to see Lara's next big chapter. The game also ties into the wider Tomb Raider universe as the franchise gears up for even more new stories and experiences in the years to come. So if you've ever wanted a Tomb Raider that honors the first game, but still feels fresh and powerful today, Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis looks like it could be exactly what you've been waiting for when it lands in 2026.
Marvel's Wolverine is one of the most exciting games coming in fall 2026, and fans finally got a proper look at it after years of waiting. This isn't just another superhero game. It's being made by Insomniac Games, the studio that brought us the awesome Marvel Spider-Man games, and they're taking everything they learned there and pouring it into a totally new Wolverine adventure. The game is confirmed as a PlayStation 5 exclusive for now, and it's being built from the ground up to make Logan feel like the savage, unstoppable mutant we all know from the comics. You play as James Howlett, better known as Wolverine, a fierce fighter with retractable metal claws, crazy healing powers, and a whole lot of attitude. The story isn't a retelling of one of the movies or comics you might already know. It's a brand new narrative made especially for this game. Wolverine is on a personal mission to uncover the dark secrets of his past that have been haunting him, and that leads him into brutal fights, dangerous situations, and unexpected encounters with old enemies and uneasy allies. From what we've seen in trailers and previews so far, the combat is a major highlight. It looks fast, brutal, and very Wolverine-like. Instead of web-swinging or stealth takedowns, you're slashing through enemies with those famous claws, tearing apart foes in ways that are a lot more violent and raw than what Insomniac has shown before. The developers have said this game will be darker and more intense than their Spider-Man titles, which makes sense because Logan isn't exactly known for being polite or gentle. The world of Wolverine isn't a giant open map like some other big games, but more like a series of big cinematic areas that you move through as the story unfolds. Players have spotted locations in trailers and leaks that include tough urban streets, snowy landscapes, and classic Marvel settings like the island nation of Madripoor, which fans of the comics will recognize right away. These places give the game a cinematic feel, like you're part of an action movie that keeps pushing forward.
You'll also run into some familiar faces along the way. Characters like Mystique and Omega Red have been teased, and there are hints that other groups like Reavers and even tech threats like Sentinels might play a role in the story. These aren't just cameos, they're woven into Wolverine's hunt for answers and many of the toughest fights you'll face. Wolverine's journey takes him all over the world, from gritty city streets to snowy wilderness and high-tech battle zones. The tone of the game feels gritty, intense, and grounded in Logan's identity as a loner who doesn't back down from a fight. Voice acting is already confirmed, and players can hear Wolverine's growls, snarky lines, and emotional moments that show there's more to Logan than just claws and rage. Since this game was first announced in 2021, fans have been super hyped and patient. The fact that it's coming from the same team that nailed Spider-Man expectations only adds to that excitement. With a fall 2026 release on PlayStation 5, it looks like Wolverine might just become one of the must-play superhero games of the year, especially if you want something raw, powerful, and full of Logan's signature fury.
Control Resonant is the next big leap for the Control series, and it's shaping up to be one of the most interesting games of 2026. Announced officially at the Game Awards 2025, this is the follow-up to the highly praised 2019 game, Control. But Remedy Entertainment isn't just giving us the same experience with better graphics, they're changing the way the game feels and plays to make it more open, more RPG style, and more personal. Instead of playing as Jesse Faden like we did in the first game, Resonant puts you in the shoes of Dylan Faden, Jesse's younger brother. In the original story, Jessie spent most of her time trying to find Dylan inside the weird, shifting halls of the Federal Bureau of Control's headquarters. In this new game, Dylan is out in the world, and it's a very different kind of chaos. After years in confinement by the Bureau, he's finally free and thrown right into a supernatural crisis that's spilling out into Manhattan, twisting reality itself. Manhattan isn't just a normal city anymore. Paranatural forces have warped the environment, bending gravity, reshaping buildings, and turning streets into surreal, gravity-defying landscapes that look like something out of a dream or a nightmare. It's a much bigger and more open place than the oldest house from the first game, and Remedy calls this an open-ended action RPG rather than a tight linear shooter. You get to explore different zones, take on optional missions, and uncover secrets in your own order. Combat in Control Resonant feels like a big change, too. Instead of focusing mainly on guns like in the first game, Dylan fights with a shape-shifting melee weapon called the Aberrant. This weapon doesn't stay in one form. It can change into heavy hammers, fast blades, and other tools of destruction as the fight demands, giving you a lot of freedom in how you approach battles. Combined with Dylan's evolving supernatural powers, combat promises to be fast, physical, and unpredictable, and enemies will match your intensity with wild paranormal attacks of their own. The story of Resonant isn't just about blasting weird creatures. Dylan is also on a personal journey. While trying to stop the cosmic force tearing reality apart, he's searching for Jesse and trying to understand his own place in this strange world. Even if you've never played the first Control, you'll be able to jump right in and follow the story because Remedy has designed this game so both new players and returning fans can enjoy it on its own. The game is set to release in 2026 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Windows PC, and Mac, and it's Remedy's most ambitious project yet, blending mystery, weirdness, and deep combat into something that feels huge and unforgettable. In short, Control Resonant takes the mind-bending paranormal action of the original and expands it into an open world full of twists, layered combat, and an emotional story of two siblings caught in a supernatural storm. With its surreal visuals, powerful abilities, and a city that feels alive with danger and mystery, this is one game many players are already marking as a must-watch for 2026.
Beast of Reincarnation is one of the most talked about new games coming in 2026, and it's getting plenty of attention because it's a totally fresh idea from Game Freak, the studio best known for making Pokemon games. This time, they're trying something very different, a dark action RPG set in a future that looks wild, dangerous, and full of mystery. You step into a world set in post-apocalyptic Japan in the year 4026, where civilization as we know it has collapsed and nature has begun reclaiming everything. The land is marred by corruption and strange, monstrous creatures that used to be ordinary things before the world went wrong. You play as Emma, known as a sealer, who carries the curse of the Blighted One. She's joined by her loyal dog companion, Ku, and together you'll travel across this ruined world, trying to understand what happened and how to stop the infection spreading through everything. What makes Beast of Reincarnation stand out is the strong bond between Emma and Ku. This isn't just a pet that follows you. Their connection actually grows as you progress, and that bond unlocks new abilities and changes the way you can explore and fight. From the trailers and info we've seen, that relationship feels like a core part of the story, so you're not just playing a hero with a sidekick, you're playing someone who truly relies on their partner in both combat and survival. Combat in this game looks tough, intense, and satisfying. It's been described as demanding and technical, meaning you can't just button mash your way through every fight. You'll be up against corrupted beasts, weird robotic enemies, and things bigger and more dangerous than you'd expect. From what people have seen in early gameplay and trailers, the way you fight feels a bit like other challenging action games, with dodges, parries, and timing playing a big part in staying alive. The world itself is full of surprises. Forests that seem peaceful can turn dangerous in a moment. Landscapes shift and change, and the beauty of nature coexists with the horror of what the corruption has done to it. Travis and Ku have to travel through dangerous, ever-changing environments that almost feel alive, and the game's art style has drawn comparisons to some Studio Ghibli movies because it mixes beauty with menace in a way that sticks with you. Beast of Reincarnation is planned for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, and it's set to launch in 2026. If you have Xbox Game Pass, the game will be available there on day one, which means a lot of players will be able to jump straight into this world without needing to buy it separately. The announcement for the game came during the Xbox Games Showcase in 2025, where fans finally got to see just how different this title is from what Game Freak usually makes. Originally, it was known as Project Bloom, and people were curious because the company rarely ventures outside Pokémon. Now we know it's a bold new direction for the studio, with a darker story, more intense combat, and a massive world to explore. So if you're into action RPGs with deep combat, a moving companion story, and a world that feels both beautiful and haunting, Beast of Reincarnation might be one of the most interesting games to watch for in 2026.
Neo 3 is one of the most exciting action RPGs set to hit February 6, 2026, and hardcore gamers are already hyped for it. This game is the third big entry in the Neo series from Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo, and it's shaping up to be a fresh yet familiar experience that fans of the series and new players can enjoy. It's coming to PlayStation 5 and PC via Steam on the same day, so both console and PC players get to jump in right away. You step into the world as Tokugawa Takachiyo, a young warrior who is supposed to become the next shogun during Japan's chaotic Sengoku period. Trouble starts when Takachiyo's own brother, Tokugawa Kunimatsu, becomes jealous and turns to dark powers, summoning hordes of deadly yokai to tear the kingdom apart. That betrayal sets the stage for a wild adventure full of history, myth, and intense battles that will test you again and again. One of the biggest changes in Neo 3 is how open the levels feel compared to the old games. Instead of jumping from one tight mission area to another, this time around there are large open field areas with more freedom to explore. You'll find villages, forests, castles, and ruins spread across different regions and even time periods, including places like the classic Edo Castle region and Kyoto from the Heian era. This gives the world a much bigger feel, while still keeping that signature Neo tension and danger around every corner. Combat in Neo 3 still hits hard, but now you get two major fighting styles to choose from anytime you want. The samurai style feels familiar if you've played the old games: strong strikes, close-range sword fights, and brutal face-to-face duels with powerful yokai enemies.
The new ninja style is quicker and more agile, letting you dodge better, move around faster, and use tricks like missed clones or high-speed attacks that catch enemies off guard. Best of all, you can swap between these styles on the fly, so if a fight starts slow and steady, you can go samurai or switch to ninja when speed and dodging matter more. Team Ninja hasn't forgotten the deeper parts of what made the old Neo games fun either. You still build your own character, choose gear, unlock skills, and customize how you fight yokai and bosses. That feels familiar and satisfying, but the story and world are much bigger this time around. There's also online multiplayer built in, so you can summon friends to help you tackle hard spots or group up and explore the open fields together. A nice touch if you like challenging co-op moments. Long story short, Neo 3 looks like a true evolution for the series. Bigger worlds, more combat options, and a rich story based in history and myth. If you love the first two, or you just want a deep, action-packed RPG for 2026, this one deserves a spot on your must-play list.